In this video, we will learn how to find slope from a table of values. A table of values can be set up vertically or horizontally. In this first example, my table is set up vertically. When I'm calculating slope, if you recall, slope is considered your rate of change. And when we calculate a rate of change, we're looking at the change in y over or divided by the change in x. And mathematicians like to use shorter symbols rather than writing out change in every single time. They use a triangle to indicate change. So change in y over change in x can be written as triangle y over triangle x. You don't say triangle y over triangle x, you say change in y over change in x. Okay? We also like to think of that as rise over run, but that's what we think of when we're using a graph. When we look at a table, we like to use this format the best. Okay, so I go over to my table. If I want to find the slope, I first need to know what the change in y is and what the change in x is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask myself between 2 points, how much do I increase or decrease to get from one y value to the next? For the first 2 points, I go from 5 to 2. That I go down 3 to get there. So the slope is going to be change in y over change in x. My numerator will be -3. For my x values, my change in x, to get from -2 to +3, I add 5. So my change in x is +5. So for this particular table, I want to check and make sure that all the way through the slope remains -3 over 5. So we'll just do a quick check. Between these 2 points, I go down 3. Between these 2 points, I go up 5. That would be -3 over 5 again. And then between these 2 points, I go down 3. And between these 2 points, I go up 5. So my slope for this table is -3 over 5. Sometimes you'll see tables listed out horizontally, and they might not have it very clear as to what your x and what your y are. So you might have to decide what's your x variable and what's your y variable. So I'm going to go ahead and make a table where we put it in context. Okay, and this context is talking about your cost based on how many pencils you buy. So a pack of 10 pencils costs $3. A pack of 20 pencils costs $6. A pack of 40 pencils costs $12. And a pack of, let's do 50 pencils costs $15. Okay, so if we want to calculate the slope, again, we're going to be considering the change in y over the change in x, and we want to make sure that it stays constant through the table. So it's important for us to decide which variable is our x variable and which variable is our y variable. Our x variable is our independent variable, and our y is our dependent. So when I'll use this phrase, does the number of pencils depend on the cost, or does the cost, the amount you pay, depend on the number of pencils you buy? And I would argue that the cost is your dependent variable because your cost depends on how many pencils you buy. So that to me means that your pencils is x and your cost is y. A lot of times your table will be set up where the x is on top and the y is on bottom when it's set up horizontally, just like we're used to seeing x on the left and y on the right when it's set up vertically. So we're going to go ahead and calculate our change in y and our change in x for all of these points. For the first 2 points, to get from 3 to 6, we add 3. To get from 10 to 20, we add 10. So the first slope is +3 over +10. Let's verify and see if that remains the same throughout the table. To get from 6 to 12, I add 6. To 20, from 20 to 40, I add 20. So the second slope is +6 over +20. That's not the exact same numbers, but if we simplify it, divide both 6 and 20 by 2, we get 3 over 10. So that is still the same slope. And then between the last two numbers, I add 3 and I add 10. So for this particular example, my slope is 3/10. Thanks for watching.